Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Affordable Home Staging here again live on the show and the podcast and the Zoom show. So we get to see you live here face to face. TJ, welcome back. How are you today?
Yes, thank you. We're doing really good. I'm excited to see you face to face. I know we've had a lot of phone conversations,
I
a
know.
podcast over the phone, but yeah, it's nice to have an in-person conversation.
I agree. Well, thanks for being here. So first and foremost, would you mind just introducing yourself to our listeners to start? Thank you.
Absolutely. So my name is TJ Pajimola. I am one of the co-owners of Affordable Home Staging. If you don't know what home staging is, we essentially go into homes, we furnish them, we bring in our decor, accessories, furniture, and make them look great for showings and for listing photos so that hopefully you can sell your home for more money and faster.
Oh, well, we're excited that you're here, TJ. Tell us the website, how we can contact you, and of course, where in Spokane are you located, and are you
Mhm.
mostly local to your state? Would you mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can always find me or call me directly at 509-944-1174, or my website is affordablehomeStagingSpokane.com.
Mm.
Or we're really heavy on Instagram at Affordable Home Staging Spokane. But yes, we are in Spokane mainly. We in all the surrounding areas as well, which since we're kind of on the border of Idaho, we also end up servicing like Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Hayden, Idaho, those areas. But then again, we kind of stay locally just because we can only do so many stages at a given time. Like 30 to 40 houses is what we're at right now. But
Wow.
hopefully we continue to grow that from here.
And
So
it's exciting how you transferred careers, and it's amazing this is a family business. Just tell us a little bit about, when you got into it and why. And I know we have some great questions that we're going to talk about today.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, totally random career change, I think, for myself. So I studied entrepreneurship and economics in college, and then I went and worked in staffing and recruiting for 5 years for a staffing firm, and then went and worked internally for SpaceX as a
Wow.
recruiter, hiring engineers, yeah, for their Starlink program as well as some of the other programs related to uh, Starship and all the other things they have going on. So kind of a random career, very technical, and then into this creative side where I get to use the other part of my brain, the design side. It's actually my sister-in-law who was really into the home staging. She's been in the real estate market in Spokane for 5 years.
Yeah.
Or now 6 years, 7 years. It's like continues to go up. I forget
Yeah.
how long we've been doing it now, but um, she was doing some of her own home staging and not
Hmm.
necessarily like they were doing the storage unit thing, the big hustle. Like, you put your furniture in the back of a truck, you take 10 trips back and forth, until you get enough stuff to, stage a house. When I moved into town, I had kind of a year where I was like a stay-at-home dad, which is totally different for me
Yeah.
too. And then I saw the opportunity to buy a business, and I knew my sister-in-law Courtney. She wanted to get into this field professionally, and so we took the leap. And it's been great ever since. But it kind of was the perfect storm. She had that design interest. I had the business side. My brother is a strong
Wow.
guy,
Yeah.
with a construction and like kind of builder carpentry background, and so the three of us partnered together really well. And yeah, we've been busy ever since we started. We've, like I said, we're doing 20 to 30 stages a month on average. We have months
Yeah.
where we do up to 40 stages, and so we were kept pretty busy in this market. So
Amazing.
it's been good. And we started. So we bought the business about a year and a half ago now.
Okay. Wow.
Um, and we've helped move like I don't have the exact number on me, but roughly $100 million worth of real estate. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Well, we're excited that you're here and really are just, I found out a lot about you over the past 2 weeks, and I've learned so much about you and your company and your integrity and your certifications and all you've done to accomplish yourself in this field. Let me get into the world of home staging, right? And what would
yeah.
you say, are some common mistakes that people make when staging their home?
Yeah, absolutely. So
He's like a
It's
lot.
interesting. Yeah, and a lot, and I don't blame people for trying to stage themselves. Like staging it's an
Yeah,
investment, just like any other.
true.
You know, if you have furniture, you're like, why would I take my furniture out and then
Mm-hmm.
have somebody else come bring furniture back in? It's kind of an oxymoron a little bit, um, but I think some common mistakes. Like again, we just did a house earlier this week where the person who had previously lived there was more of like a hoarder. They ended up like taking as much stuff out as they could, and then the
Mm-hmm.
family members decided, hey, we're going to try to stage this ourselves. And what I ended up having to go do is I came and thought like orientation is one thing, like what are you actually trying to get people to focus on? And a
Yeah.
lot of times people will put so many different like items in a room that you have just like
Mm-hmm.
a nice way instead of like I think we try not to say like clutter necessary, but like there's a lot of things vying for your attention in a room when not to like probably the one of the most common mistakes is like you have just random decor all over the place and like people are like, where do I actually focus my eyes, like
And
where
it
should I
becomes
look?
junk with all dust on it. Yeah, you keep buying and buying and
Exactly.
buying. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it just stacks up over time. So again, we say edit out as much stuff we can, make a focal
Mm-hmm.
point and make that the focus. So again, I just did a house where it's like we ended up just taking out all the pillows, all the blankets, all the decor they had set up, all the random art, and it's like all these extra plants, and then it's like we simplify it. We have a few candlesticks on the mantle with a mirror and like with plants on the other side. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we have very symmetrical setups. We balance the room by putting different pieces of furniture. I think a good explanation is like create an X in the middle of your room, and you should have the same amount
Uh-huh.
of furniture in each one of those boxes, and that will help balance your room. And so again, that's some of the stuff, like you said, I learned from my training, like my certification and training after I got into this business. But also, I think it's nice that I realized I had an eye for it as soon as I got into that, and then I realized it was uncommon to have an eye for where furniture should go and where you should put decor and accessories. A statistic I saw was like roughly 90% of people
Wow.
can't visualize themselves in a home when they walk into a vacant home. So it's interesting to think, wow, it's like, eventually they're going to move their stuff in there and just learn to live in it. But how many people are living out of kind of where they're like, something's off here, but I don't really know what it is. We can
Yeah.
help pinpoint that and, again, use some of those design tools and tips. And then again, we have newer and nicer furniture, and accessories that we can bring in and make it really look good for showing. So.
Awesome. I love it, love it, love it. And let me ask, what if they don't have a large budget for staging, because it does come
Mhm.
down to budget. What are some of the things that you suggest?
Yeah, so there are like more important rooms than others, I would say, and I
Okay.
think the misconception is like you have to stage your whole house if you're getting it staged. We do everything a la carte, so you're able to like pick out the rooms that are most important to do. We'll go
Mm-hmm.
in when I do a consultation. I'll walk in, I'll go through the houses, and I can quote every single room, but I
Yeah.
really give them a small list of like these are the key areas. If you're budget conscious, like hey, I would in most homes I would do like a living, dining, kitchen, and then a primary bedroom. You don't necessarily need to do all four bedrooms or the family room downstairs. It's okay to leave some things to the imagination, especially after somebody's already walked into the home and built a connection with it. Because you're already more likely to get that sale as long
Yeah.
as some of the rooms are staged. And then if you're trying to use your own stuff, again, simplicity is better.
Yeah.
That minimalist
True.
style
True.
is probably, I would lean more into that than the
Then,
art deco style or some of those, you know, like I said, those things when you're vying for a lot of attention, or there's a lot of things vying for attention in the same room. So yeah, more minimalist is kind of a big tip there if you're trying to do it yourself, or again, if you're trying to get somebody to come in and do like an accessory package, like again, get rid of all of your blankets,
yeah.
pillows, extra decor pieces, and then have a professional come in and do maybe just accessories like art decor and and pillows, blankets. Keep it simple, but uh, and ask for help. Use Pinterest, use Instagram. There's lots of examples of that, and copy. I think that's something I learned in this business. I'm not afraid to like go look at the trends, what's on Magnolia and what's going on with Magnolia,
Yeah.
and kind of copy some of what they do. And it's like that's flattery, I think. And I've seen people copy what we do too. And, when we have some creative
Now, where can you
ideas,
hide your clutter? Is like a garage a safe space? Like you can have like a messy garage during a showing because like that's like the
but
person's personal stuff. Like, because where are you gonna put the stuff that you're taking out of your house? Where does that normally go?
absolutely. I think some people go there's a whole spectrum of what you can do with stuff. You can go like hardcore and put everything in a storage unit. You can move into your parents' house. You can like people do vacate lately because it's so stressful trying to
Yeah.
live in a home while you're having showings. Like if you're in the home and you're constantly having to clean, and again, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
through something right now. I'm living my home
Yeah, tell
as I'm
us
trying to
about
rent
that.
it out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I have it staged. Again, very minimalist. I mean, you can kind of like it's like bookshelves. They don't usually look like that. It's usually full of books, full of everything. But
I feel better about
frankly,
myself. Mine too.
yeah,
Just everything's a
you
mess.
you just take the box. You shove as many books as you can, and then you make like a part of your garage. You section out. Um, there's that I'm blanking on the show
Yeah.
name, but there's a show about like edit, organize,
Mm-hmm.
compartmentalize, and so even in your garage, like you compartmentalize a space that's dedicated to boxes, and then you make that. I have like
Yeah.
boxes, and then like workout, and then like my car, and so and if you can't do that, closets are okay. Anything that can shut a door, people understand like if you are living in a space that you're gonna have stuff like under sinks, in cupboards, in closets, ideally just not on open shelves. Again, I recently explained that I just did a occupied stage for somebody or somebody who had stuff in there. Nobody was living in the space, but somebody who
Mm-hmm.
had stuff in the space. And we took all the stuff out of the living room and the dining room and the kitchen, and then they didn't have anywhere to put it, so they ended up putting all that stuff
Ah,
like on shelves upstairs in the bedrooms. And I'm like, oh no, that's not what I would do. I would have
no.
rather stuffed it
To
in your
hide it.
car or hide it in a cupboard, some anywhere people would have to like open to look into, but as opposed to like what they're just going to see. And when I'm going through or staging a house, like I do everything through a camera lens. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
even like after I look at it, I'll even take a picture, and then before I give any
Ah,
advice, I always
good
look at like
idea.
the photos, because there's always things that pop out where I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't look good, or that shouldn't go there because it distracts. Or like maybe it looks great in person, there's a tall plant, but it's blocking the couch. It's blocking your view of the fireplace or something like that. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
we kind of have to be like we're trying to be the best partners to photographers, because photographers are going to try to be the best partners to realtors to make to make that online presence really stand out. So
Got it.
there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of little
Yeah.
details, but yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, also I want to ask you about, the homeowner realtors sometimes have different visions, right, for the home than
Mhm.
what you plan. How do you get into that with them?
Yeah. um yeah, so that happens commonly. I'm sorry if you hear my dogs in the background, but that does happen commonly, where a homeowner owner will have just a different idea. And I think it's important for them to remember, and I talked to them about this. It's important to remember we're trying to market, or like we're essentially a marketing company.
Yeah,
We're trying to market your house to as many home buyers as possible. So it's not
true.
necessarily about your style, how you would live in the space. Sometimes it's not even how you'd functionally live in the space, but what's going to look
Mm-hmm.
best through the lens. And then ultimately when people come walk through the house, what's going to make them feel connected to the home. And so those are, that's usually the conversation I have. But then also, I guess the thing with that is like, find a stager that you connect to, like look
True.
at their stuff, look at their online work, look at their portfolio, look at their
All right.
Instagram, make sure you actually like it. And then, it is about trust. I think staging is a
Yeah.
relational business. It's like, one of the best compliments I got since doing this business is that, hey, you actually seem like you cared about the result of what happened. And because I would text her, after a week, because I knew she
Mm-hmm.
was again living in the home while we had just staged it. I'm like, I know that's stressful. So I text her and ask her about her showings and things like that. And I
Um,
didn't know that was a big deal at the time. It's just something like I was genuinely curious. And so but getting feedback like that, like, hey, that made a big impact. And ultimately, when we sold our home, we felt better about that we made this investment because we knew somebody who had worked really hard on it, cared enough to follow up and check on them. But it is super stressful. So, I don't blame anybody for, having a different opinion, wanting things to look perfect. But there
Yeah.
is a little bit of trust that needs to be built in that relationship. So build a
All right.
relationship with a stager and find work you like.
All right. Affordable Home Staging, Spokane spelt affordable home staging, SPOKANE.com. We're here with the owner and interior design at Affordable Home Staging, talking today about all the work they do. Check out the website, check out their gallery. It's some beautiful work, and I love all the pictures on there. And even on Instagram. How do we find you on Instagram?
Yeah, it's also at Affordable Home Staging Spokane.
Now, where do you keep all the stuff?
Yeah, so I have like a 2,500 square foot warehouse, but I would like to tell people I kind of store my stuff in homes. My goal is to
Got
be
it.
out of inventory constantly. We have so many homes we can do, and so and I have a sales background. I mean, so I'm constantly, if we have stuff coming in, I'm trying to get it back out, and and we definitely change out some things for the house, and we want to make it like personalized. But like key items, like all of our our couches and our chairs are mostly neutral. We do have some with color, but it's we try to bring a lot of neutral items in and then add pop of color through pillows, blankets, art, and things like that.
And do
So
sometimes people want to keep what they see?
yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'm
That
doing
happens a
delivery
lot,
on
right? The
Friday.
turnover. Tell me what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. Well, people again walk. They like I in a home buying situation, I don't think people should try to get too connected to a single home because there's a lot of great homes out there. But unfortunately, and what I do is I create that connection, and so people will come in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love how you set up the place. I love actually your stuff. I don't even want to bring my stuff. I want to sell my stuff and live with your stuff." And so honestly, they call me and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to get rid of that, but luckily I have wholesale connections.
Yeah.
I can buy new furniture a little easier maybe than they can, or I can find that furniture a little bit easier than they can. So I don't mind selling our furniture if people are so connected to it that they'll love it. And then a lot of the time it's just, it's easy as leaving it in the home. We
Yeah.
stage everything else, that they don't want to buy. And then we leave, the stuff in the home. And then when it closes, they transfer possession,
Yeah.
and so it's actually one of the easiest ways to get furniture too. And I will say, in a lot of cases, you can get furniture at a discount because some of that furniture is a couple years old, 2, 3 years old, and so as opposed to buying it full price, a lot of people will sell their like models for a little bit
Yeah.
cheaper. I've heard of that, so I've looked into doing that, before myself. So
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Well, thanks for sharing that. And also let's talk about, buyers' expectations, because you mentioned that some ways they're changing. And how does that, influence the need for home staging even more so? Tell us about the clients out
Yeah.
there. What are they like these days?
Well, yeah, the home buyers, it's like they're more expectant of like a move-in ready home. Like even if you're living in the space or if it's vacant, they want that home to be something that they
Mm-hmm.
could walk into and they feel like, oh, I can move in right away. And so staging is super common now. It wasn't, it hasn't always been that way. Over 50% of realtors stage their homes. And I would say that number's probably gone up. That was like a
Mm-hmm.
2021 statistic. It's like 51% or something like that. But uh, people expect you to stage your home like and not have a messy home, especially like again
Yeah.
if you're living in it, they expect it to be clean, to have very clear like rooms, like define like, hey, this is defined spaces. This is a living room. This is a dining room. These are bedrooms, not offices, and whatnot. And so it's really important to cater to that. And then again, most
Mm-hmm.
buyers right now are starting their search online. That's not something uncommon. People probably say that all the time. It's like 95% of people shop online before they ever go do a showing, before they go to an open house. And
Mm-hmm.
so again, if all they're seeing is photos, and there's two scenarios that I see very common online that really hurt houses. One is it's a vacant home and all the bedrooms look exactly the same and they can't tell what part of the
Yeah.
house they're in. They look at a photo like I can't tell if this is that bedroom, this bedroom, or what part of the house I'm in. The other big mistake is obviously just bad photos, like just having very messy rooms, or the owner is standing in the mirror when they're taking
Yeah.
the picture and things like. And it's not as uncommon. It sounds funny, but it's not uncommon to see, just horrible listing photos. And it's like, if 95% of the people that are,
Mm.
looking at your listing are just passing by because your photos are bad, that's gotta hurt the amount of money you're gonna get for your home and
Yep,
the speed at which you're actually gonna sell it. So anybody
exactly.
can get lucky with one person, being interested and coming and buying one day after you list, but it's a little bit less common now than it was in maybe 2021.
Got
So
it. All
yeah.
right. Thanks for sharing that. Now, what about the the economic factors happening, and the interest rates, inflation? Does that impact and the
Mhm.
need for home staging?
Yeah, absolutely. I think mortgage rates dropped, I think, to like 6.34% on
Okay.
this Monday. And so it's
Oh,
the
wow.
lowest they've been all
Okay.
year. And so
Oh.
that I heard about open houses over the weekend were just crazy because they had dropped previously on Friday. So like all of a sudden, all these buyers that were on the sidelines all popped in, and they're going after the same inventory. And so which is
Mm-hmm.
nice for people that have been sitting on homes for like a
Yeah.
month, because the past month, because of such high interest rates,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people have been on the sidelines not buying. Homes have been moving a little bit slower, and so staging has been really important for that. It's like it's a competitive landscape. There's more inventory out there, so if you want to stand out, staging is super important. Again, like I said, if 50% of the homes are staged and 50% are not, it's likely that those 50% that are staged are gonna, have that better, like, connect with people a little bit better than the ones that aren't. So those are gonna be the first ones people go to, and then you hope, if you're a vacant listing, that after all those sell, maybe I'll be listed. But there's constantly listings going out there, especially now that interest rates are going down. More people are going to list because they see that as an opportunity to sell
Ah,
their home quickly. And so,
makes
um,
sense, TJ.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was on a call. I actually had a picture I was going to try to find. I was on a call with
Sure.
some stagers around the country today, or sorry, not today, this Tuesday, and we were talking about um, we, we were talking about like what a recession means, and it's like, I hate to say, like, staging is always the answer, and we only entered a correction, so I'm not saying we are in a recession or going to be in a recession, but what happens in a recession typically, and the couple things we said is like decline in home prices, decrease in home sales, increase in foreclosures, tightening of
Mm-hmm.
credit, lower mortgage rates, and new construction slows down. And a lot of the answers to those things are getting a home staged. If you want to be competitive, if
Yeah.
homes aren't selling, you got to do something. The homeowner or builder isn't going to just sit around
Yeah.
for you as a realtor, if this is your business, and just wait for you to sell the home. They're not
Yep.
going to wait months. They're going to want you to be
Exactly.
doing something actively. And staging is one of those things. If you haven't done it yet, is definitely a way to increase the likelihood of you selling the home.
All right. Well, our last question for you today is, how do you know if a stage was successful?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think results matter in this business. Like, if you like, I think days on market is one of the best indicators of, it was the staging good. Also,
Okay.
the other thing is sales price. Those factors aren't always affected, but those two things are like key. If you sold in a week, or if you're under contract within a week, the staging was likely good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the staging did its job. If it, even if it sold within the first month, I would say, like, the staging did its job. If it goes a little
True.
bit
Yeah.
longer, you want to start looking and seeing, okay, is it the staging or is it the price? Like price and
Mm-hmm.
presentation are the two factors in selling any home. And so we obviously can only handle the presentation. We don't, get involved in, like, hey, what you should price the house at, unless it's our house, but
Yep.
so we can't control everything, but those are the two key factors. The other big thing I look at is, like, views online. If you look at
Uh-huh.
stagers work and you look at how many likes a home got, or how many views a home got, and then how many likes it got, and then look at that percentage. If it's roughly around 10%,
Yeah.
you're capturing a large portion of the audience that is looking at the home. If it's anything less than that, you start to really wonder, okay, people aren't even liking the photo. Not to mention they're not buying it, but it's like,
Yeah.
if people aren't even liking it, that's probably an issue. So if you're a realtor out there, or if you're a homeowner out there and you look at your own listing that's in current state and you see only 2.5% of people that have viewed your home have liked it, then likelihood is it's gonna take you 4 times as much time to sell your home as it would if 10% of people were looking at your home or liking your home. So again, that's basic math. I don't know if it's that 100% true, if it like works out like that every time, because like I said, it only takes one person to buy a home, the one right person, but you're more likely to find that right person when more people are viewing and liking your home. So
right.
Again,
Well,
those will be the 3 factors, I think.
Well, pleasure having you here as always. Great to see you in person for our live Zoom show today. Tell us how we can reach out to you, please.
Yeah, so you can reach me directly on my cell phone at 509-944-1174 or on our website at affordablehomeStagingSpokane.com or Instagram at affordablehomeStagingSpokane.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure seeing you and speaking with you. And I'll be back again next week.
Absolutely. Well, I'll see you next week.
Can't wait. I love it. And I would love to see some of these pictures because I always peruse your website and this beautiful work you're doing. I want to have some questions about some of these kitchens and the home the home pictures you have up. They're beautiful. Where are you getting your stuff from? You can't tell me. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm in New York, so I probably can't find the same stuff, but maybe I can.
You never know.
All right. Thank you again, TJ. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.